So I think what we're just talking about is, some days are just tough to wake up on the right side of the bed. Some days it just feels like things are just happening over and over and over again to you. But the only way we're going to overcome this is by having a proper mindset, by getting our minds right first thing in the morning and understand that these things are happening for us and not to us, right, Ed? So we want to make sure that you're understanding this wasn't a good fit right now, and it's happening for us and not to us. So you got to frame that around. You got to change your perspective around a little bit to understand that God has a plan. God has a plan for us, and no matter how tough it is sometimes to see what that plan is, it's there for us. We just have to embrace it. We have to grow with it, and we have to encourage ourselves and get our minds right to understand that we can overcome these things. We're strong, we're tough, and we have the skills and abilities to do it. Now, I'm not talking about like book skills or anything like that. That could definitely come into play, but life skills. It's about being humble enough to understand that we're not perfect. Every day is not going to be perfect, and getting up on the right side of the bed is hard. Humble person understands that. Humble person understands that you can direct the rest of your day just by doing a couple of simple breathing practices, just by getting your mind right, by understanding that there are wonderful, wonderful things that are going to happen today. We just have to continue to look for it. If we're focusing in on the negative stuff, that's all we're ever going to see. So you got to make sure you're changing that mindset right away. If you're focusing on the negative stuff, that's all you're going to see. Guess what happens when you focus on the good stuff? That's all you're going to see. I think it's really, really important to understand that. So I had a humbling experience yesterday when I'm reaching out to a potential customer. We've been emailing back and forth, and yesterday was going to be our meetup, our phone call, to have a conversation with them to understand a little bit about the scope, what they're looking for, and how, if we're a good fit for them. The customer got upset thinking that, how could you come and have a proposal set up over the phone? And I was explaining to the customer, it wasn't about a proposal. It was just about seeing, hey, are we a good fit? Are you looking for the cheapest? Somebody who's going to ram through and bang things out? That's not a good fit for us. There's no sense in us wasting our time and driving up there to meet up with them if we're not a good fit initially. So I had to humble myself instead of saying, hey, you big jerk, you're a dodo head. This is what we do. Instead, I had to, I humbled myself and explained a little bit deeper and unpacked it for them to let them understand that, look, I value your time. Your time is very important. There's no sense in me spending and wasting your time when you have 100 other things to do to come there just to find out we're not a good fit, just to come to find out that you want a 1-day-a-week service, or just to find out that you want the cheapest service that just comes in there and knocks stuff out and does a terrible job. We're not a good fit when it comes down to that. So I had to humble myself instead of and let my emotions take over and call this guy a jerk and I had to humble myself and just realize that not everybody, I have to understand their perspective. I got to see where people are coming from. We all have to see where people are coming from. We don't be too fast to react. We take the emotion out of it and we follow processes and procedures. And if your process and procedure is to be a humble person and to want to be remarkable, then that's your process and procedure. That's the skill we're trying to build. That's the encouragement we're trying to have for the rest of our team, so everybody can focus on these processes and procedures and make these things a habit. It's not a hack. It's not a hack. Life is not a hack. You can't hack your way through life and can't hack your way through performance. You have to build habits to make these positive performance things. So it's really important to get your mindset right, to think about all the wonderful things that we have so we can continue to fly at that very high altitude, because God is good. God's got a plan for us, and we just need to stay focused on those things. So that's basically